What's up, everybody? Evel here for Volume 3 of Evol's Vintage Corner. I know this is the one a lot of you have been waiting on, and it's probably the car I have the least amount to say about. I guess I'll just kind of give you an overview of my experience, which isn't a lot, but anyway, I'll stop blabbing and show you what I'm talking about. This is the vintage Kyosho Javelin. So this car was an object of my lust when I was a child, and I don't have the original catalog. This is a 1990 Tower Talk, and by this time they had already replaced the Optima with the Optima Mid, which is another piece I would like to add to my collection. But it was magazines like this and the annual Tower catalog that came out that had pictures of the Optima. That's obviously the re-release that I haven't built yet, and the Javelin. These two cars share a chassis and a drivetrain. They're identical cars, the difference being that the Javelin is kind of the tube version, and the Optima just used a traditional Lexan body. The story behind how I got this car, which I don't know if you've ever tried to buy one of these, but if you find them on eBay, they go super quick and they go for a lot of money. I've seen them, super nice ones will bring $1,200, $1,500. I mean, it's crazy what people pay for these. This is a very highly coveted vintage chassis. I just basically lucked into this one. A couple of guys that work at the local hobby town in North Kansas City here, actually one of the guys had one. Basically he raced it back in the day. It was just sitting in a box in his garage, and we were talking. I think it was probably when Tamiya started doing their reissue kits, and I was hoping that Kyosho would start reissuing some of those as well, because I always wanted a Javelin and an Optima. He was like, man, I got a Javelin, and I was like, I begged him to sell it to me. He had to think it over, because it's something that he had a lot of history with him, because he raced it, and when he got back into RC, I believe in the 90s, he took it out to the track and raced it again. So he wasn't really sure he wanted to get rid of it, but he reached out to me and said, hey, I know you're a vintage collector. I'll sell this to you for $100, but you have to promise not to sell it. Basically, I think he wanted to be able to come visit it anytime he wanted, but he also didn't want it sitting in a garage. He wanted it to go somewhere to someone who would appreciate it. So this has been one of my prize objects in my vintage collection. I haven't really done anything to it. When I brought it home, I took it apart and cleaned it up. It's in original condition. It's got a few modifications. Like you see, it has alloy shock collars because I guess the plastic ones were prone to giving up. It has the original Sand Super tires, which are extremely rare. These ones are a little bit rough. They've been run, so they're probably not highly collectible, but they do add to this particular kit. The only problem with this at all is, you can see right here, this cross member, this one right here, has been removed or broken. I'm not sure which. So I haven't taken it apart to put that back together. And getting that piece probably requires this whole upper tube chassis, which is probably, that's wishful thinking, probably never to get my hands on that. So anyway, I'm just going to call it like a, it is what it is. It's the condition it's in, which is really pretty good. The plastic looks fantastic. I may get a new driver. This one's been trimmed up. Get a new driver. I'm assuming Kyosho is going to re-release the Javelin at some point. They've done the Optima. The next logical choice would be the Javelin, especially with this car being probably their most highly coveted car by vintage collectors. Obviously, the big differences between the Javelin and the Optima visually is the wheels. The Optima had white wheels, the Javelin used silver. I was a huge fan of the Javelin when I was younger, just because it looked so scale. It looked like something that you would really be out buzzing around on the dunes. But I'm going to try and find an old Le Mans, Kyosho Le Mans motor to put in there to kind of dress this up for display. You see it's got a little burn on the plastic there. It looks like a wire or something got hot. Still has the sway bars, which is really cool. Does not have the original decals and stuff. That would be nice to have that to kind of finish out the look. But anyway, sorry I don't know a lot more about it. I just didn't have any experience with these when I was a kid. Just nobody at my track had them. It was just something I saw in these magazines and that I always wanted. Obviously, family wasn't rich when I was a kid, so I was lucky to have what I did, and I didn't complain. But anyway, later on in life, when you can appreciate this stuff, when you run across it, you can pick it up and, you know, add it to your, I call it my little museum or whatever. Luckily, with the advent of YouTube, I can share it with other people as opposed to it just being hidden in my garage. This car is currently set up with chain drive in it. I know they had, I guess this one doesn't, well, I think it's supposed to be a little window there. You can, it's awful old and it's fogged up, but you can see the chain and in there to be able to look at slack and all of that stuff. Anyway, I don't have much more than that, just a good up close look at my Javelin here. I guess that's it. We'll do a quick little flyby of it here and then we'll move on to the next one. Anyway, that's it. Not a whole lot of information, just a kind of a close-up look at the Javelin. If you guys like this series, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. The channel's been growing again since I've been able to spend a little time with it, so really happy about the folks who are subscribing. Don't forget to check out scaleandtrail.com, which is the new website that I'm running that deals mostly in scale RC trucks like the SCX-10 or the Terra Ascender, trucks like that. Appreciate you stopping by. Catch you on the next one.